Toute sa vie, le réalisateur Loach a réalisé des films sociaux et engagés. Son dernier film en salle, The Loach, sur l'arrivée de migrants syriens en Angleterre, en est encore un. Et comme tout le monde lui met l'étiquette de cinéaste militant, on lui a demandé ce qu'il en pensait.
I wouldn't use the word militant action. They come from a view of the world, really, a view of society. And that's evolved over the years. I began to do television programs, which became films, and began to do cinema. It was a time of factory occupations, the May events in France in 1968, and a renewal of the left. That's where I learned my politics. Again, of the ruling classes, we never hear our stories. You know, it's about the kings and the queens. This duke built this great building. No, he didn't. It was the stonemasons, it was the carpenters, it was the plumbers built the building. You know, it's really important. A lot of people talk about hope now. You know, where is the hope? Hope is political in the sense that you can see a path forward. Ours are usually rejected by the politicians. The one we did about the man who should have benefits, too ill to work, and is denied benefits. The right-wing minister said this is fiction. They attack us when we did a film about the Irish War of Independence and the Irish Civil War because it exposed what the British did in Ireland, and that's a story they don't want to tell. For that one, I was called a worse propagandist than Leni Riefenstahl. And one conservative minister said, or one conservative writer said, I haven't seen the film. I don't want to see the film because I don't need to read Mein Kampf to know what a louse Hitler was. And he put our film about the Irish War of Independence into the same category as Mein Kampf. So they get a lot of hostility. But, I mean, that's good because if they tolerate you, you know, it shows you're not very effective. So we kind of welcome those attacks. It shows we're having some effects. If you don't have hope and you're in despair, that's when people fall for the far right, for the propaganda. You know, you find a scapegoat, that can turn into racism, and then it turns into fascism. It's a process. So I think that's the problem with despair. I think that's where it leads. The fundamental building block, I think, for the optimism of the left is finding solidarity. If we can tell a story that shows that solidarity is possible, that's the first step on a fight back. Of course, it clearly has to have a purpose, and the purpose is to connect to people and say, please consider this, or please, here's a question, what do you think the answer is? So yes, it's a connection, and it implies a political point of view, a social, economic, a humanitarian point of view, but it should be more complex than simply a political idea you can reduce to a slogan, because if in that case, it becomes propaganda. But if you can make a contact with people in an audience, in a way, the next question is, what do you do when you leave the cinema? And how does your view of the world, have we slightly shifted it, or have we left a question in your minds?
Konbini!